Alright guys, welcome once again to this tutorial in graphic design. The Apex Mind here and this is the Creative Diet. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about how to develop a visual identity design. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the different aspects of visual identity design and what actually visual identity design is all about. Okay, so visual identity refers to all the graphical imagery and visual components of your brand image. Okay, anything the customers or the client can see and associate their business with, okay, can form part of your visual identity. Now, this includes your logo, your packaging, your website, even your email templates. Okay, there are dozens of visual assets that are connected to modern brands. Now, basically, a visual identity design um, is an attempt to um, add flesh to a brand. Okay, as a human entity, for instance, can be identified with their skin tone, their voice, their fingerprint, their height, their overall personality. Now, visual identity helps to create or assign those human characteristics, as it were, to a brand. Visual identity helps to assign those characteristics in terms of color, in terms of tone, in terms of typography, using trying to communicate a personality of that brand visually, all right, to people. Either the brand personality is fun, playful, or the brand personality is luxurious, bold, loud. Visual identity helps to communicate these things for a brand. Okay, so basically what visual identity does is to create a memorable identity. It creates a memorable um, um, picture in the minds of the clients or customers that are associated with that business. All right. So so here I said here that while your logo helps to define what your company stands for and immediately grabs audience attention, your typography conveys elements of your personality. All right, typography is very, very crucial, and we are going to see, or in the course of this video, I'm going to explain just how crucial it is. Okay, now let's take for instance now this um, I'm going to be using this visual identity brand that I developed some time ago to explain what this means. Okay. Um, okay. Now, visual identity is most commonly outlined in a set of brand guidelines or brand style guide. Okay. Now, these are the rules used to deliver a consistent visual experience to your customers wherever whenever you produce a new marketing asset or brand concept. All right. So what basically a brand style guide is a record of the visual identity assets or the visual identity procedures of a brand. Okay, it's basically just a display like a manual. Okay, showing the clients how these visuals that you have developed as a designer will be effective or will communicate the brand objectives. Okay, so basically it's like a manual. All right, so that's why I said here that visual identity is most commonly outlined in a set of brand guidelines. Now, good visual identity design should be able to achieve the following: one, create an emotional link with the customers. inform customers about the purpose of the brand, highlight the services products offered, convey the personality of the company, unify the marketing and branding assets of the organization. All right. The visual identity you are developing for this business should be able to communicate um, the personality of the brand, should be able to communicate effectively what the brand should achieve, okay, and create that emotional link, that recognizability with your clients, okay. Now, some key elements of visual identity. Let's look at the elements of visual identity. As a designer, what should be those key things that you should be looking out for when you are creating a visual identity for a business or for a brand? Okay, what are those things that should be top on your list or at the back of your mind? Number one should be the logo. And the logo is the central part of the design. And like I said, I'll be using some examples. Now, here is a brand visual guide or a visual identity guide. Now, the very first thing I did here was to develop a tagline, okay, an action tagline. I developed this tagline, whatever it is, we build it. That's the tagline here. All right. This is an aspect of the brand, but this is not what I want to show first. Since we're talking about the logo, right? Okay, we have here the brand personality, and then we have the logo. But I'll come back to explain what those two mean. This is just a sample to working with templates, working with my slide. All right, so here is the logo of this brand. Okay, so this logo here has been developed for a brand. And remember, we said something about the visual identity, that the visual identity, when developing a visual identity, it should align with the brand personality, and you should be able to communicate, the objectives of the brand. Okay, so here is the logo for this brand, construction firm. And you see here, I have the primary version of this logo. All right, so this logo is the primary version of this logo. These are the this is the, should I say, the, okay, the best way I will explain this, in football you have home jersey, away jersey. All right, so if this were football, I would say this is the home jersey, as it were, for this brand. These are the primary colors, all right, for this brand. The arrangement of these colors is the logo symbol, or the logo emblem. The logo symbol here is the gold globe, turning globe symbol icon here, while the font, or the type, the font, the logo type is carrying a deep ash color. All right, now you can see the away version, or the alternate color version of this brand is like this. Here I changed the logo type from from deep ash to white. Now the reason for this is because the logo will not always be used on a white background. What if the logo is to be used on a dark background? All right, so these are the reasons for having an alternate version of colors, right, like a switch. All right, in case of for background color compatibility purposes. All right, so you see this now, and then a final alternate version. Okay, so if you look here on this brand visual guide that I developed, the way I developed it, I'm showing you here. I said next alternate version, so the user is already, when he opens the brand style guide, when he looks at the pages, it knows that, okay, the next thing that's going to view is the alternate version of these logos. All right, so when we go to the next page, you see the first alternate version of this logo, And then still again, there's another alternate version of this logo. Then you see here just a slight color variation, but still they are the same logo. All right. Okay, so here you see the logo in one color mode. You see black, you see ash, you see white versions, okay, of the logo. Because obviously every good logo should look good in black and white. That's one of the criteria for knowing a good logo. When you convert that logo to a one color mode, does that logo still look good? Does that logo still hit the target? In one color mode. It's very, very important for you as a designer to understand this rule. One of the key rules when designing a logo is that does your logo survive the one color test? Does your logo survive the one color test? So it's a very, very important or significant thing for your logo to have, for your logo to still be effective while in one color mode. Very, very important. Even if there's going to be a gradient color version of your logo, your logo should be effective in one color mode. You should retain its effectiveness in one color mode. All right. So this is for the logo. Now remember I said I was going to go back there to explain something. Now here I have the brand personality. Now if you notice the step-by-step progression of this brand style guide, all right, before I unveil the logo, I created a page where I explained in detail the pattern of thought behind creating the brand personality, which then informed my logo design process. So here I have here an explanation for the brand personality. All right, we intend to portray a reliable, strong, stable, and globally relevant brand. I think that's the key aspect, okay, of the purpose behind the logo idea, okay, that can be relied upon for every and any construction or engineering task within the scope of the business description. Now, bearing this in mind, we have painstakingly developed the following brand visuals and elements in order to support and achieve this objective. Right. So this was the brief. This is the brief or the objective of a design. Okay. The objective of the design is to portray a personality that's globally relevant, reliable, strong, and stable. All right. One that is capable of handling any engineering task. So you see the way I'm communicating with this design, there's a spanner inside the visual identity. There's a spanner inside the design here just to communicate something related to engineering. All right. And then you now see the logo. All right. So you see how it's aligning to the purpose behind the personality. Okay, so the logo is working to align to that personality that I just described in the brand that right up there. Okay, so next we have the brand color palette. Okay, the brand color palette. Now, every brand, when designing as a graphic designer, you have to communicate using colors, right? So it's very important for you to understand the importance and the use of colors in communicating for a brand. Okay. So in this visual guide, I added the color palette. Okay. Although the next page is not talking about the color palette, the next page is talking about the typography. You see here, the next page in this brand visual guide is typography, but I'm going to just skip that so that I can go to the color palette for now. I'll come back to show you or to stay on the page of the typography, but for now I'm going to go to the brand color page. All right, so now here are the brand colors. Okay, now for the brand colors of this business, I decided to go with this color arrangement. You can see here the way I displayed it for the client. Now this first two, the ash and the gold color, are the primary colors for this brand. Okay, these are the primary colors of the brand, the gold and the ash or silver tone. Okay, these are the primary colors, that's the key colors, the home, you can put it like that, for the home jersey of the club, for instance. Now, so when I talk about primary, I'm just trying to draw an analogy here. So these are the primary colors. The key colors of the brand are silver and gold, all right, or deep yellow. Okay, so while these other three here, the white, the black, and the light ash, okay, this is a dark ash tone, this is a silver tone. Okay, so these last three here, 1, 2, and 3, are called the accents or secondary colors or supporting colors. Okay, while these two are the primary, these two right here are the accents or supporting colors. Now take for instance when and this is very important for you to be able to distinguish clearly to the client what colors are their key colors and what colors are their supporting colors, so that they can maintain a color consistency. Remember, I said that this brand visual guide that you are developing as a designer for your clients is basically a manual, a guide for them to understand what you have created for them. All right, for them to understand what you have created for them. So here, these three colors are the supporting colors, while the first two are the primary colors. So if, for instance, now they are designing something in their company and they want to portray their brand, with primary colors, that you are using the gold and the deep yellow and dark ash. All right. So here you can see here that I drew something here, or I recorded something here with numbers. Now these are hexadecimal color values. Okay, these are hexadecimal color values. Okay, now what are these hexadecimal color values? You see me writing ash 4D 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 ash DC7C00. Now these hexadecimal color values are called color codes. Okay, they are called color codes. Now one of the importance of these color codes is so that in whatever happens, this brand is supposed to live long. Let me put it like that. Okay, for future reference, because this is not going to be the only design that will be done for this company. In the future, they will want to do banners. In the future, they will want to, produce brand utility designs, or they may have to develop things for their brand, choose their color, maybe when we want to print. Okay, so these color codes will come in very, very handy in order to maintain the color tone across board in everything they want to do. Sometimes you see a brand, for instance, now you see a brand, for instance, they use some businesses, in their design, some graphic designers in their design, maybe they use blue to do the brand design. For example, they chose this color for a brand design. Tomorrow you see them for that same design, for that same logo, right? For that same design, for that same logo, they come and they use a different shade of blue. maybe they use this or they use this. Okay, it creates some level of confusion because consistency is very, very important in branding and in visual identity. I'll give you a beautiful example. In Nigeria, where I'm from, there are two telecommunication brands who are known for using the color green. All right, these two brands are known for using the color green. Okay, and for these two brands that use the color green, one is Glow and the other is Etisalat. Now you will know very well that the color shade that Etisalat uses for their green is different from the color shade that Glow uses for their green. Very deep. It's very important. They use their color shade of green is very different from the color shade that Glow uses for their green. One is sharper than one. Okay, so you see how crucial it is, even when the colors are similar. All right, so and one of the ways to maintain that color consistency for a brand is to be able to know the color code, so that you always pick the exact color for that brand. All right, and I'll show you how you can do this. Now that I've chosen this color, I can come to my color picker tool or eyedropper tool. I'll come here and just hover the tool across this color. And when I do that, you see at the bottom, you see RGB values 220124 for blue, RGB red, green, and blue, 220 for red, that's the value, 124, that's the value for green in terms of the mixing. While in hexadecimal, if you convert it to hexadecimal value, you have DC7C00. So I can come to my color palette, for instance, now. For instance, I can come here, all right, and take function 11, on my keyboard. That is, if, for example, now I'm trying to replicate this color now, this gold color now, I want to get this gold color, right, and use it for this shape. All right, I can come to this edit field dialog box here, and just for clarity's sake, the way I open this edit field dialog box in CorelDRAW is that I pressed function 11 or F11. Okay, on your laptop, you can hold your FN key and press function 11 on your keyboard so it will open. All right, so all right, so now that the dialog box is open, I'll come here and select uniform fill, apply a solid color. Now I'll come here and check color viewers. And when I check color viewers, you see here where these values are, where this hash 000F is. Okay, I'll just copy this color value, hash DC7C00, and then I'll press OK. You see, it has the exact color that was used for this brand now is what I've just made a copy of. And the reason why I was able to get this exact color tone and maintain this color consistency is because I know the hexadecimal color value for this brand. All right, so this is very, very important. for you as a brand designer. Okay, so let's go now to see the next brand visual identity element, brand fonts. Now for a brand font is very important for you it's very important for you to understand this. I already dropped a tutorial on typography, so by now would understand how or the reason for this. But let me just do a recap. Now, why should your clients have brand fonts? Number one reason is the possibility to establish an emotional connection with consumers. I talked about typography and the psychology behind typography. Okay, and it's very important. Fonts communicate emotions. So, and when doing branding for a business, your design should be able to communicate emotionally with their customers. All right, and you should be able to communicate emotionally. Your design should be able to communicate emotionally across board. In every way, your design should be able to communicate emotionally with the colors, with the fonts, with the photos, with the words you use. Everything should communicate in your design and be able to relate with the clients of your customer. Okay, now another reason why you should choose brand fonts is the possibility to link the brand with a certain association a font conveys. Still links to the first point. An overload of different fonts, and this is one of the key reasons. An overload of different fonts used chaotically or that is used in a random manner is considered bad manners and can scare the customer away. Now, when you do not have a static, when a brand does not have a static or defined view in the eyes of the customer, that brand loses credibility. And when you lose credibility, you lose trust. And when you lose trust, you lose customers. Okay? So it's very important for you to be able to, maintain or choose a static font that will be a font that will be stable. All right, a font that will be stable and recognizable as relates to that brand. Like you notice my slides now. There's a specific font I'm using for my slide. If I use this font for this particular key points now, and I use a different font, maybe I come and I change the font. In each slide, I'm showing you a different font. In each slide you see, I'm showing you a different font. You'll be confused. All right, so it's very important for you to understand this key factor in branding or in developing a visual identity for a brand. Okay, so believe it or not, fonts get stitched to their brand over time. Together with colors and a logo, they can become a strong identifier for a brand. Okay, so this is very important. Now we're entering into typography. So let me go back now and explain this. So you can see here for this typography in the typography of this brand, you see I labeled it. We have here for the logo type itself, I use this font Astron Demo. That's the logo type. And then the sub logo type is Swiss 721. Light. This LT stands for light. EX stands for extended. Okay. So light extended. I can't remember what this BT stands for now. Okay. But this is just the logo type architecture. Okay. This is just the logo type structure for this business. Okay, so the logo type itself, that is the name of the brand itself, carries a certain logo type, a certain font, while this one here carries a certain font. All right, now this logo type, if you look at this document now, documents now that I created for this brand, even the font style that I'm using, for this visual guide is part of the fonts that I've already used selectively for the logo, which is the sub logo type. So you see how I'm creating harmony. This brand pattern, the brand visual guide, the text I'm using is uniform. All right. So here, this SNES here is the header font. Okay, I chose this one as a header font. You see, this is also a second sub logo type. Okay, and I've already assigned this logo type to be used as their header font. Like you notice here for the headers typography, you see this, I'm using SNES for the headers. Okay, so if in future when they are, for instance, when they are doing their, maybe for office design, for example, this font here, SNES, will be used as their headers. Maybe for example, when you are entering into the office, okay, the font that is used to write maybe manager, like you go to GT Bank, for example, you notice that there are some fonts they use to label their offices, restaurant, cashier stand. Those typography, those are header fonts. Okay, so these fonts now will be a header font that will be used. Okay, so you see, I already have a typography structure created for this brand, and it is included in the brand visual guide, so that the clients will get an overview of what his brand or her brand will communicate visually. All right. Okay, so brand typography. This is just an extension of brand fonts, though. So basically, I've just explained the architecture. Okay. So brand typography, roughly speaking, typography is the way the fonts are displayed, their hierarchy, sizes, boldness, etc. The font layout in the brand visual identity throughout all mediums brings recognizability. A clear structure and hierarchy allows you to control what information gets to the user first, and thus control their thought process. All right. Now, this is an example of what I'm saying. Okay. So, you see this example. So, it is the structure. This is a typography structure now for a brand. For example, I can choose to use this type of typography structure for a brand. For example, now you see this. When using typography, there's something we call block width. The block width is also considered an important factor in typography. Too wide text block width will cause our eyes to have hard time finding next line of text. So this is very important, for your social media branding, social media designs. Okay, so you don't strain your social media designs. Are not for. I always advise my clients when designing social media flyers, don't pack too much information. Okay, because social media is not a place of it's a place where people's attention span is very short. So try to communicate as much as possible. So don't pack too many information, make it take so long. Okay, very, very important. All right. So next element of visual identity is shapes and patterns. And that is what we have here in the next page. Brand patterns. Okay, so for this design, I chose for this brand, these are the brand patterns that I chose to use. This polymorphic shape, these geometric shapes, okay, combined together in different shades. Okay, you see the way I used these patterns here, just the way I use these patterns. Just look at the way I use these patterns when I designed the cover page. You see the cover page, I just use these patterns. See, there's a faded desaturated photo, And the photo here is showing a man doing some construction work. You see that, with the helmet and all that. Okay, so see the way the patterns are integrated in the design. And then in the tagline here, okay, I didn't add this to my slide, but another element of visual identity that is included in the identity is the tagline. Now the tagline is basically like the motto or the slogan, the brand message. Okay, the brand message. That's what the tagline is basically talking about. Now, for example, MTN has a tagline, or used to have a tagline. I don't know if that's their tagline. They used to call it yellow everywhere you go. Okay, now that tagline is a brand promise, and the brand promise is wheresoever you are, we have the reach that you can rely on. Okay, our network reach, you can rely on our network reach everywhere you go. That's their brand tagline. So here, this tagline is we build it. Whatever it is you want to do, we build it. Okay, with the run arm. Let me put it like that in pidgin. Okay, so that's what this brand tagline is actually trying to communicate. All right. So that's one of the elements. I just explained brand patterns and tagline. Okay, so this brand pattern now is going to be a unique brand pattern for this business that I just chose. All right. Next is a consistent style for the graphics. Okay, a consistent style. Consistent style meaning the way you combine your fonts and colors, the way placement of their logos, placement of their the type of pictures you use to communicate their designs should be consistent. Right? So if you notice here, you see the brand tagline is we build it. Okay, you see the way I used the patterns and the fonts. Looking at this visual guide that I designed for them, you can see that there's a unique flow. There's a harmony in the way the designs are flowing. The use of my colors, the use of my patterns, the use of the fonts. Okay, the way the design is flowing is just flowing proportionally or directly, or rather in harmony. Okay, so there should be a consistent flow. So you see this tagline here. I explained the tagline. The tagline is styled specifically to instill confidence subconsciously into the mind of the customers. The tagline we build it helps speak volumes of competence and trust. No matter the peculiar request or task of the projects presented, we possess the necessary capacity to deliver. Okay, so this is just an explanation of what this tagline is hoping to communicate. Right? So these are just examples of the brand assets. So you see how this logo and the visual communication of this brand will look like. So I developed a design for their worker wear, face caps, their logo, 3D mock-ups. You see this is the letterhead, their worker vest. Okay. Then you see here the souvenir jotter here. You see the way the patterns are coming into the design. Okay. Also another type of worker wear for staff. Okay, so you see the way the logo would appear on their worker helmets. Okay, so basically this is how to develop. This is a reference for how to develop visual guide and visual identity for a brand. So in summary, the visual identity is basically the overall outlook, communicating the overall outlook and perspective personality, purpose, and objective of the brand using design, while the visual guide is basically a compilation and a manual guide explaining your process, explaining the reasons behind your decisions, and how these brand visuals will be communicated. Alright, thank you for watching our video. Please like, share, and please like, comment, and subscribe.
I drip glory, I am nobody's else.